The year of Godzilla is huge.
I think so. Yeah. It's been a big Godzilla year.
It's Godzilla fans are just eating it up.
And I gotta say, I was very hesitant once Godzilla Kong the first trailer dropped, but as we've talked more about it, we've just both warmed up to it. It just feels so right. It's like the natural progression of what to expect. And then we had -1 this year, which was a nice shift to like the original Godzilla. It's been fun.
Because let me tell you, when that first Godzilla X Kong trailer came out, not the teaser trailer in April, when we first saw it in December, the day before, I saw -1 with Adria. And so when I saw this trailer on Sunday, I was like, this is hot garbage.
Yep. Yeah,
I was like, what are they doing with Godzilla right now? It took me a long time. I didn't enjoy it at all, the trailer. Yep. And I was like, I don't want to see this movie.
Imagine not going to see it though.
I'm gonna see it, but I was like, I don't know if I like this trailer at all.
Yeah.
And then we started watching Monarch, and we really enjoyed that, minus a couple episodes, because I feel 10 episodes was way too long for that show.
Yeah.
It should have been like 7. The story kind of was drawn out a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And the teen characters, the human characters were great. The stuff set in the 60s and the 50s, those were amazing characters. But the teen characters after the first 3 episodes, I tell you, man, they were so hard to watch.
Oh, no.
They were complaining all the time. They were like, oh, I don't even want to be here anymore, blah, blah, blah. Then just go home. There was a character. She was a hacker. She didn't need to be in the show at all. They could have given that to somebody else. She was only in there for like episode 7 when we find out her backstory. She worked for this company that turned out to be Apex, who created Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
But she hacked into their systems. But I'm like, you didn't need to have her in this at all just for that plot point. Because every episode she's like, I don't want to be here. Even eventually the brother, who was also really cool in the first couple episodes, he was like, I don't want to be here either. Like, go home. I don't need to care about you.
When movies or TV shows have the characters say things like that, it almost influences the viewer to think of the same thing. It's like, why am I watching this? Why am I here?
Yeah.
Just skip this episode. But I haven't seen Monarch yet. I do plan on watching it because I want to get that build up, that hype for.
Because the first 2 episodes, I would say you need to watch. And then the last, I'd say 2.5, 3 episodes are killer. The finale is amazing.
Nice.
And the finale almost makes up for those 3-4 episodes in the middle that just are full of the teen, poor dialogue. Let's draw this plot out. But the finale of the show got me so amped. All the shots with Godzilla, they did it in the daytime.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
There was a spot in, I think, episode 7 or 8 where he was in the sand. It looked absolutely incredible. It called back to Godzilla versus Mothra from the 70s.
Yeah.
Where he comes out of the sand and it looks spectacular. But then the finale, he enters Middle Earth, and this is the first time we see Godzilla in Middle Earth.
Ooh.
It's the coolest. I was so hyped. You see the shadow, and then like the music starts playing, and they're trying to fight this ion dragon, which was the first monster we saw on the show. And I'm not trying to spoil anything for you because I know you're going to watch it, but he comes through the portal, and and it looks exact. It's like 2019 Godzilla, but it's like for some reason they're saying it was 2014 Godzilla because it takes place between this and the first movie and King of the Monsters. But he looks like King of the Monsters Godzilla with the spikes. They changed the spikes.
Yes.
Because they're different from movie to movie. But he comes in, and it's the first time we see him down there, and he tears this thing apart.
That's cool.
And the music's blaring. He gives this thing a combo, and then he takes it by the wings and just hits his atomic breath and just shoots it to the ground. And then he grabs it, rips his one wing off, and just chucks it across.
I love it.
And then at the same time, the human characters, like, they're trying to get back. Because once the thing is, if a kaiju comes through the portal, it allows them to access the portal to return back to Earth. So they have to have a kaiju in order to go in and out of Middle Earth.
Yes.
So Godzilla's there, so they're trying to get back into the ship to bring the mother back. So then Kurt Russell, he's trying to, because something disconnected like everything always does, because he's going to get left behind. Yeah. That's the whole point of the show he's trying to save the love of his life, but he gets left behind. So eventually he gets it back, and they end up going through the portal, and Godzilla's still causing a ruckus, and he destroys this thing, no problem. Gives the big roar. But then when they go back through the portal, they go forward in time. They didn't return to the time when they went in, which was like 2015. They went in.
Yeah.
They came back out in 2019, and they end up on this platform, and we see a crate that says Apex.
Okay.
Right. So that's the company who made Mechagodzilla. And we're like, okay, what's the deal here? And then the brother's there because he didn't go with them. So the brother's there with the dad, and we see their reunion, the father seeing his mother again.
Yeah.
That was the most beautiful acting moment in the whole show. And it was nice. It made up for everything from episode 1. And then we finally see and zoom out and Apex is there, and then alarms start going off. And they're like, come on, we got to get inside. It's too dangerous. And we're like, okay, what's going on here? We find out they're on Skull Island.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Kong comes rustling through the trees.
Yeah.
And he looks so cool because this is the first time we've seen Kong, like not from Godzilla versus Kong, but like since his movie in the 70s, Skull Island. So he has the beard. He's all thick, right?
That is cool.
And he comes walking through and it's raining. He looks great. And he starts beating his chest and gives the big old roar. And that's when the episode ends. And once that finished, I was like, you know what? I'm so ready for this next movie. It's not even funny.
It does sound like they've taken care to like pay attention to the characters, make sure it looks good, but then get us excited for this new movie.
Yeah.
Rather than just having some standalone thing that was slapped together. It seemed I don't know. I think the
first trailer was so distinctly different.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was like, what is going on from like what we saw in Godzilla versus Kong? As wild as that was, Godzilla's pink. Now.
I know. Yeah.
He's got pink aura in his atomic breath, and Kong, he's got this mechanical arm. And like I had no problem with the villain. I was hyped when we saw the teaser trailer, and I was like, oh my God, they're doing a monkey villain.
Yes.
That's something we never even thought of. But the whole trailer put together, I think it also had to do with the music and how the beat was. And then they ended on the running scene of them two together. Some people thought that was so cool. And I'm like, why does that look so weird?
I know. I'm still kind of torn on that. But every time I see it, I kind of just chuckle and think, this is what it's supposed to be right now. It's not supposed to be this super serious thought piece on the ramifications of war. This one is about monsters fighting each other.
It's not 2014. It's not how it started, you know?
Exactly.
But it's not like we've seen Godzilla run before. He's running King of the Monsters when he's going against Ghidorah. But it just looks so odd to me.
It does.
And probably because everything's in Middle Earth, so it's so magical and like not real. So it didn't seem real. But then the second trailer came out. And after we finished Monarch, the second trailer came out right after the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And I sent it to you and I said, I am so hyped for this movie. And all they did was take the first trailer and add a couple extra scenes in. Because it's really just the first trailer mixed up with different music.
Yep.
And it landed for me.
I know.
Because as ridiculous as it was, I'm ready for this now. Like we've seen -1, which we'll get into in a hot minute.
Yep.
But I'm ready to see. I think because we saw so many different versions of Godzilla in that trailer, we saw him looking normal with the blue, but then the shot of him where he's radiating and you could see it all through his scales and he goes into the ocean. Yep. That was one of the coolest shots. And then you get you don't get the glance, but you get Shimo.
Yes.
The ice dragon.
Yes.
You see him. And then when Kong blocks it with the axe and then the ice is going, I'm like, this is so cool.
It looks awesome.
And then the ape.
Do we have a name?
What's his name? We have a name. Scar King.
Scar King. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
When they show him, he is his whip. I think he's made it up of maybe a skull crawler's bones or something.
I think so.
Maybe there's something on the end. Someone pointed out there's like a glass diamond on the end of it, and I think that's what's controlling Shimu.
That's
Shimo.
Cool.
Is it Shimu or Shimo? Is it
I think it's
Shimo.
Shimo.
That could be,
sounds like
Shamu. Shamu, yeah, that would make more sense.
No,
but they're keeping him a secret, which I think is really cool, even though it's already been leaked. And his leaked picture on the toy, like what his render looks like, is really cool.
It does look really good because he's kind of like purple, white,
grayish,
gray. Yeah, it's kind of like ghostly looking, which we don't really see all the time. It's a very muted tones. Well, I mean, this Godzilla's pink for crying out loud this time.
Which, let me tell you, people are online were bashing it hardcore. Like, why is Godzilla pink?
I was too.
I was at first because it's not the pink that bothers me. I think it's how vibrant and bright it was
right
on his spines. We haven't yet to see what he looks like without, because every shot of the trailer, he's glowing.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So it seems like the saturation was up to like 150. But
Yep.
when he doesn't have the final shot of the trailer, when he doesn't have the glow happening, it looks so cool. It's like a clear gray white with like some pink tones, because let me tell you, Godzilla had pink spikes in the past. Right. And no one had a problem with it. One of my favorite designs is Godzilla 2000. He had black with the pink tips of the spikes, and it was the coolest. It was like not pink, like magenta.
Yeah.
But it was one of the coolest designs I've ever seen.
It's like your lights.
Yeah, it's magenta.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal. But the problem is his fire was orange.
Yes.
So that's why people were like, this is the first time he's had pink fire, and everyone's losing their minds.
But I think that in terms of continuity makes sense. If you have the energy coming through the scales, I think that the breath would match it too.
Yeah. But it's the transformation from blue to pink, I think, is so drastic.
It is. You know? If for sure.
People were doing a bunch of those mock-ups where they changed the color.
Yeah,
Godzilla is red. Godzilla is green. Godzilla is white. If Godzilla had orange fire or whatever, they were just changing the saturation tone of the trailer.
Yeah.
But I don't mind the pink.
No.
I just think it was such a big blast of, this is different than what we've already seen.
Yes. It took a while to get used to it. But again, if it works when we see the movie, that just goes to show the vision of the designers of the character had. Because we look at it and we think, that's dumb. And it takes us so long to appreciate it. They probably did so many iterations, but then they're like, pink. And
it's also out of context for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just threw it in the trailer and it's like, okay, how does he evolve? Well, we know how he evolves. He goes clearly, depending on the trailer, he goes to Middle Earth and he's absorbing whatever crystal structure he's in.
Yeah.
But then I saw somebody, this is probably not real at all, but the way radiation works and the scale of radiation and the color schemes.
Oh, the colors change.
The colors change and how powerful radiation is. And like you have blue, orange, red, and then the top one is pink. So if he's the most powerful version of himself, it's clearly going to be pink. But I don't know if that chart is even correct. But if they're going to do that for this movie, I have no problem with him evolving himself, because he's even a little thinner, so he can be a little faster.
Right.
And I don't know if you noticed the last shot of the trailer, his tail, he's got a club on it now.
Oh, yeah.
He's got spikes on the end of the tail, which I think is so cool, because he's always had the tail slap as one of his moves that he's used since the 60s, right? And he did it in 2014 when he swatted the Muto through the building. But if he has a club on the end of it, goodbye.
It's dangerous.
Goodbye. And then Kong getting the gauntlet based on the trailer makes sense, because clearly he lost. His hand was injured when he had it wrapped, the Scar King wrapped around the his whip.
That's right.
And then it shredded most of his hand. So I think he'll lose either a finger or like it'll get madly damaged. So they need to power him up. It just looks cool. It's the most ridiculous. And the director said he's basing it off the Showa era. Which to me, I never really watched, because it was like the campy. I have a couple of the DVDs and VHSs of like, you know, Godzilla just looking goofy and like him sliding across on his tail, doing a jump kick, and like him jumping up in the air and doing like the dance moves and stuff. Like where he was the hero. I could see where he's getting that inspiration from, but it's also grounded and like they're not doing absolutely insane stuff. They're still acting like animals, which is cool.
Exactly. Yeah. And well, we'll talk about it, but it's cool to see these different iterations of Godzilla in the same time period. Now we're going to watch The New Empire. Before
we decided what we were going to lead with for this podcast, like what we were going to watch to start, when we decided on Godzilla the series, and as I was watching it, I was like, this is great stuff. This is everything I wanted. Like my inner child came back and I was like, this is everything I want Godzilla to be, just fighting monsters. So how was that Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire trailer, throwing me off so much? But I think it's because I saw a Masterpiece the day before.
Exactly. It's 100%
but now that
why.
I'm so far out of -1 and I'm back to like the American stylized version, and like I'm used to the media that they've given us, I'm so ready for just monster throwdowns and 8-minute sections without any humans. But let me tell you, I don't want to speculate too much because I don't want it to ruin it for us.
For sure.
Because this is what happened when No Way Home was coming out. Jesse and Ian and I, we were just constantly send leaks and talk about them. By the time we saw No Way Home, we weren't even amped at all.
Right.
We walked out and we were like, yeah, we called everything that was going to happen in this movie. So it wasn't even surprising. So I don't want to do that. But Gia from Godzilla versus Kong.
Yes. Yeah.
She was the best character in that movie. And
Yeah.
she has the most interesting story from this trailer, that she's having visions from her ancestors.
Yes.
And like she's going to Middle Earth and she's going to be part of this whole tribe that they foreshadowed 2 movies ago.
Yep.
In King of the Monsters. And I'm so excited.
It's good that they have one unifying character that plays a big role, but it's that if Gio was the only human character that had the most screen time, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Because we don't need a lot of human viewpoints from this type of Godzilla movie, right? We need a little bit to kind of guide us through how are we getting from place to place, and how do we ground to how do we ground to a human that way with Gia for sure.
Yeah. And there's only seems to be 3 other characters.
Cool.
By the look of the trailer.
Yeah.
I'm just happy Millie Bobby Brown isn't in the franchise anymore.
Yeah, she needs to do other things.
Yeah.
I'm happy for her.
But they kept Brian Tyree Henry, which will be the comedic relief of the movie, which
yes.
I don't think we need that many, because the part where in the trailer he's like, oh, is that just a mini Kong?
Yeah.
Hopefully that lands better in the movie, because it's just a joke taken out of context, which I hate when they do that in trailers. Marvel's the worst for it. They put the worst jokes in the trailers.
Yes.
But yeah.
I don't know. I'm never looking forward to a joke in an action movie anymore.
I don't know. I don't want to speculate on Gia, because she's the most interesting character. But the part in the trailer where she's with the other tribe in Middle Earth and she's walking up these massive steps to touch something. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to ruin it for you, but I might have an idea, but I'm going to leave it because I don't want to spoil it for myself either.
I want you to
very exciting.
I want you to write it down, date it, and then after we watch the movie, I need you to tell me if you were right.
Okay. Well, I'll say today is the day. We'll say February 18th, 2024 is when I write this down, and I'm very excited about it.
Okay. I'm excited. I want to hear this. I want to hear your version if it is different. And then
it's not some massive thing,
no,
like plot that I'm thinking of. It's just one simple thing that's going to do something amazing.